How much does it cost to set up SMSF?
Okay, again, it's a very sort of variable figure because there are some people who charge like $8,000 to $9,000 to set up. And I've seen some people who are still qualified and they charge around $2,000 to $2,500 for setting up. So it varies. Best is to shop around and find out what they offer. Like, why is somebody charging more? What are they doing differently? And you can compare apples to apples. Like, for example, are they setting up a company? Are they setting up a corporate structure? What other added benefits they give? Are they creating the property custodian trust? Are they doing, are they going to give the services to make the PCT, which is property custodian trust, or bare trust they call it as. So find out what all services they do for the money taken, and first of all, are they sort of qualified to do these things? Are they reputed? But as I mentioned, it can vary between $2,500 to about $8,500. So yeah, just shop around and make sure you're happy with them, and then just choose who is good.
What is the annual maintenance fee?
Good question. This is again a very hugely variable figure. There are some online people who charge, I believe, very less. Like they charge about $1,500 or even less, I heard. And there are people who charge a lot, $4,000 to $4,500. Again, it's best to find out what services are they offering. Is it just for tax return? Is it for tax return and auditing? And do they charge extra for individual properties and shares? All those things you have to check. So something about $2,500 looks very reasonable. $2,000 to $2,500, that looks very reasonable. That includes tax return in general, auditing for that, and that includes the shares within the SMSF, and in my case, 4 properties within the SMSF. But again, that figure could vary, but that's a rough figure just for reference.
Can we buy multiple properties using SMSF?
But you can invest in multiple properties. What I meant was, if you have one property, say you bought it for $400 and now it's worth $1 million, so that means you got a $600,000 equity in that property. What I mentioned was you cannot use that $600,000 to act as your 30% of the next property, because this is a separate entity. That's what I meant. So you can buy separate properties. Only thing is you have to build your the deposit separately from the first property, because you will be paying for the first property as well. So if it's positive, that's good, you don't have to probably pay anything, but if it's negative, then you may have to pay something for the property. And then you have to build enough savings to buy the second property, and once that is done, you have to save enough for the third property. That's what I meant. So you can buy multiple properties, that's not a problem. The other thing is, I prefer to go for a bit of cash flow positive properties in the beginning because of the same reason, so that I don't have to put my money towards the first property. So if it's breaking even or if it's positive, then I don't have to worry about that property because it's paying for itself. So then all my money, say for example myself and my wife, if we contribute maximum, so that's about $27,000 each, so that's about $55,000. So that's your first year saving, or approximately first year saving, apart from whatever is happening with the first property. So if you do like that for maybe 3 years, you've got maybe enough to do a second property. So that's how I grew mine. The key is to get more cash flow or positive or high yielding properties in the beginning, so that your money does not go towards paying that one. And then later, once you have more money, you can always look at buying something more where it's a little bit like negative, for example, house and land, where your capital growth might become higher, and also it may be a little bit negative, but you can afford that at that stage because this first property and second property would have become positive by that time. So that's what I meant here.
Can you explain more advantages and disadvantages of about buying and selling SMSF investment property?
So first thing is, can you sell the property? Yes, you can sell the property either before retirement or after retirement. So you can sell it. So one of the big advantages of the SMSF is the capital gains. So So after retirement, the capital gains is zero. So that means all the capital gains, you don't have to pay tax on that. That's a fantastic opportunity for investors. So before retirement also, there's a reduced tax compared to capital gains tax outside of super. Okay. So yes, you can sell the property, and once it becomes, the money becomes part of your fund. So say for example you made 1 million, there's 200,000 you have to pay to the bank, so you pay that. You still have 800,000. If it's after retirement, chances are you may not pay any capital. You don't have to pay any capital gains. That means all the 800,000 is with you. I mean, the situation you're asking is probably before retirement. The answer is yes, you can sell, and yes, the money is there for you to buy another property in SMSF. Yeah.